everybody. I am back with another ephemera making session here. I'm going to be making two pieces of ephemera, or two different kinds of ephemera. I'm going to be making these two little envelopes, and I'm going to make two little mini journals. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is making these two envelopes. These are printables from Calico Collage, and I'm just folding them based on the lines on the printable. And then I do distress, I think, around the edges, and I'm going to end up decorating these and then filling them as well. So you'll see how that process works. So I think these are really cute. I love how tiny they are. I love mini things, so they're fun to make little mini stuff. I'm just using my liquid glue here to add a little glue onto the little flaps to close everything down to secure it. And I did print on the back side of these printables because I knew you would probably be seeing the backside from like these envelopes, so I did print on the back. I print on the back side of some paper. Sometimes it depends on what I'm going to be using it for, whether I print on the back or not. If it's just like paper that I know I'm going to be collaging with, then I do not usually print on the back side. But if I'm unsure, or I know that the back side of the page is going to show, I do print on both sides of the paper. So I am just decorating the front of these envelopes. I'm using a little bit of cheesecloth and a little bit of muslin. Both have been coffee stained. And then I just did a little zigzag stitch on them. And I just really like the rusticness of these two little, I don't know, like little strips. So I'm using my not my art glitter glue, but my Fabri-Tac to glue this down. Since it is fabric, I want to make sure it sticks nice, and I love the Fabri-Tac. I think this one's actually the 3-in-1, but it's basically the same thing. So I really love the 3-in-1 Fabri-Tac glue. I like how it dries, I like how it adheres, and it's one of my favorite glues. I just always struggle with getting it out of the bottle. I tried to go to these Sugar Belle bottles, which do work better than the actual bigger bottle that it comes in because it has a thinner tip, but I do struggle with it getting clogged up a lot. I do have a little cap that goes on it, but I don't know, I still struggle, but that's okay. I will work with it. This is some notebook paper that was coffee stained, and I'm just making it fit these little envelopes. So I just trimmed it down with my ruler and measured it based on the size of the envelope, and then I'm just going to fold this over like a little letter. And then I will end up embellishing both of these little pieces of paper, and then these are going to go into the actual envelope. So just kind of using the little envelopes as a guide on how to fold it. And I have them the right size, and now I'm going to pull some pieces of paper from the Calico Collage collection, and I think I might grab some embellishments too. I can't remember if it was from Calico Collage or another collection, but I am going to fancy these up a little bit, just trimming down until it fits nicely on the front of this particular letter. Same thing I'll do with the other one. That's one thing I do like to do when I'm making albums and stuff like that. I do like to make things in multiple quantities. It just seems to go faster when you do that, and then you end up making more, obviously, because you're doing multiple at the same time, but it just seems to be much more efficient to make multiple in one setting than to make one envelope today and then another envelope tomorrow. So I do try to make multiples, like I did multiple tags or multiple journaling spots. I try to do that at the same time, usually 2 to 3 to maybe even 4 at the same time, and I just think you get more bang for your buck when you do that as opposed to just doing one at a time. So these are little labels. They're printed on cardstock. This, let me see, I can't remember where I got those from. Give me 1 second and I'll be back. All right, I am back. They are from the Junk Journal Studio, and you get like a ton of numbers in her kit, like a ton. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make 2 wax seals to go on each of these little envelopes. So I just got this kit, I think from Amazon, and I got the wax and the seals and everything. I only have one right now. I'm hoping to get more for Christmas presents. I put them on my wish list. I think they're really cute, and can't wait to hopefully get a few other varieties. But I thought this little rose would look pretty on the Christmas kit. So I'm just taking a gold pen and adding some gold to each of these. And this is just a paint pen that came in the little kit. And I'm just trying to color in carefully the raised image part of it. So I made this one with 2 different colors, 2 different colors of wax, and then I'm going to make one more with a little bit different variety, so they look a little bit different. One's going to be a little more red, the other one's going to be just a little bit more pinky. So you'll see that here in a second. And this all came in the kit, the little tile here, the stamp that I'm using, the thing that holds the wax to melt it, all that came in this little kit that I got from Amazon. So this one you can see is a little bit more peachy pink, and I'm just taking my paint pen and coloring over the raised edges, and I am going to do over the circle part too. And then they stick pretty good to this little, what's it called? Marble piece. It's not really marble, but I just use my little spatula to get them up. So I really like how those look. I think it's so cute and adds a little touch of something to the back sides. I'm using some of this red liner tape to glue them down. I wanted something very strong, and I thought this might work a little bit better than like a liquid glue. I just wasn't sure how liquid glue would work with the wax seals, so I decided to use this red liner tape. So I'm going to carefully pull that off and just adhere that to the top, and then the bottom is still free, and then it kind of gives a little bit of weight to the envelope so that holds them down just a little bit, but the wax seals are pretty light, so it doesn't, add a lot of bulk or anything. So I think those are so cute, and those are done. Now I'm moving on to the little mini journals. This is the last little embellishment that I'm going to be doing in this video. These turned out so cute. I love, like I said, anything mini. So I made little mini envelopes. Now I'm making mini journals. I end up pulling the paper and basically making these exactly like you would make a regular journal, except it's just a mini version. So I just used the pieces of paper as a guide to determine how big I need the piece of paper, and I'm just using paper from the kit to make the pages. And I really like this kind of deckled distressed edge, so I am using this distressed ruler to trim them out rather than just cutting them by hand. So I'm going to fold these little pieces in half. These also came in the Calico Collage kit, and so they look like little pages. And then this right here is going to be the outside of the album, or the little mini journal. And because it's white, I want to back it. So I think I'm going to back it on this, what is it called? Straw paper. And I'm just using, again, those little pages that came in the Calico Collage kit to determine the size of the cover. And I want the cover to be just slightly larger than the actual pages inside so they fit nicely. So I'm just taking my glue stick and I'm going to glue this down. This is just done on copy paper. And it is kind of like a shinier or smoother copy paper. It's not like your cheapy copy paper. I bought a little bit upgrade of paper. I think the images just turn out a little bit more crisp on this paper. But it's still the same kind of weight. It's just a little bit smoother or finer surface, I guess. So I made the, what's it called? The straw paper, I keep forgetting, a little bit bigger. And then these little pages are going to fit in perfect. And I'm going to decorate the inside of the little cover. And ultimately, I'm just going to end up sewing these pages in with my sewing machine. Usually when I make a journal, I do like a three-hole pamphlet stitch, but these are so tiny that I just ran them through my sewing machine with some red thread. You'll see that at the end. So just distressing this edge. This is a great way to use up your little scrap pieces of paper. Gluing them down. And again, even though there is a pattern to this paper, because I think it's pretty subtle, you can still write on here. And I do want to add some little pieces on these pieces of paper so that you can also write in the journal. So I'm going to be measuring out this, what's it called? I'm having problems with what my names are today. This little coffee dyed paper. It's just coffee dyed copy paper, and I'm trimming around the edges, just fussy tearing, and then I'm going to glue these down, and then that will give you a place to write on, but it has a pretty kind of Christmassy background to it. Again, just using my little roller there to make sure everything adheres really nicely. And I will add a little bit more of that kind of paper to some other places. This is some coffee dyed lined notebook paper. And I'm just, again, using the page as a guide. And then this time I'm going to cut it out with my scissors to get a little bit more of a nice clean edge. Distressing the edge again. Again, just gives it some definition. I think it looks nice on this particular page. And just gluing that down again with my glue stick. So far I'm really thinking this looks cute. I like how it looks. I love, like I said, mini stuff. Here are some old vintage letters from the Junk Journal Studio that I'm using. And I'm going to trim this multiple times. I can't remember if I end up using this particular piece of paper or not. I think I actually end up using it someplace else. I play with it quite a bit, and then I think I end up pulling it off this page. But just kind of playing with my stuff and seeing where everything goes. These are fussy cut images from the Calico Collage Kit. Ultimately, I just didn't like what that looked like. I really like this Joy to the World, again from Calico Collage. I'm going to trim it out a bit more. I thought there was just a bit too much background. And then I'm going to also use my Distress ink to stain around the edges again, just to kind of give it some definition. Sometimes I do ink around things, sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends. It depends on what it looks like on the page. If I feel like it's blending in too much, I add some Distress ink because then it gives some definition. If I feel like it looks nice and I don't need Distress ink, I just don't add it. So that's kind of my rhyme or reason for why I do that. I thought adding a little bit of cheesecloth on here would look really pretty. Just give it some extra texture. I really like this little rope. I think I got it maybe in an Etsy stash or something like that. And I thought it would look cute if I made this like the little tie that goes around the book. I end up not using this though. I decided it was just a little bit too thick and it just wasn't going to work for this page, but the colors were really great. So I thought it was going to be good, but I end up going without having any kind of like tying mechanism. I mean, this is a really tiny little journal, so it really isn't necessary to have a tie. So I will end up abandoning that idea. But I will work on the Joy to the World and having that cheesecloth on the front. So I'm just going to take some of my glue and then glue this cheesecloth down, and I kind of want it to be kind of scruffy and messy here. And then I'm looking to maybe add some more collaging on the back. I end up not liking that. I'm just going to keep it plain. So I'm just adding that 3-in-1 beacon glue, kind of keeping it kind of scrunched up, but enough that the Joy to the World will fit on it. Here is where I decide that it just isn't going to work with that, and I pull that off. And I was going to use this, and then I decided, nope, I'm just going to keep it plain. So this is pretty much the end of the video. I'm just going to finish adhering this down. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you have any questions about anything I made today, leave those in the comments below, and I will be back again very soon with another video. Have a great day, everyone, and just stay tuned and you can see how it looks stitched in. There you go. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.